What's going on? It's your boy Connor Conflict, back with another video. Today's video, different than my most recent videos, but if you follow my YouTube channel, you know I slap dick around. It's a bunch of smorgasbord, just trying different things. I made videos like this in the past. It's the thing I'm most passionate about, Miami Dolphins football, which just happens to be a extreme disappointment, unfortunately. So that's the top of conversation in this video. It's going to be my brief overview of what I think the Dolphins need to do. And then I intend to probably break each individual part down into why I believe that. And if someone's actually watching this video, drop down below what you want me to talk about as well if I don't cover it in this video. I love Dolphins football, I guess. I misphrased that. So it's just really easy for me to talk about. I pay attention to it extremely intently. I would say I'm very, very educated fan when it comes to the Dolphins. So my opinions on this are pretty polar opposite, I feel like, than the majority of Dolphins fans right now. They're also coming off the heat of a loss, so there's some disappointment. I'm just checking over. My video's been cutting out, so I'm hoping that doesn't happen. So without further adu, I'm going to hop into the video. Like I said, this is probably not the most common Dolphins opinion, but it's my opinion. I like the way I view it, but we'll see how it all plans out. So as you can see, I got my U Stadium post up. Shout out U Stadium. Make sure you download their app. This is usually, most people go to Twitter to rant. I go to U Stadium. It's just more of like a football sounding board for me, you know what I'm saying? That's where I'll post my heat of the moment stuff. I don't do that on Twitter. So first thing first, I think the Miami Dolphins need to keep Brian Flores at all costs. I think it's hard to explain because year one is the whole tank for two a year. The Dolphins had honestly, I don't even think it'd be that far to say the worst team in NFL history. Their quarterbacks were Ryan Fitzpatrick, who's good. Josh Rosen, the running back, they got rid of Kenyon Drake midseason. It was Kalen Ballage. God, I forgot the guy's name, but he freaking got arrested for like domestic violence. Patrick Laird, Myles Gaskin when he was still not good. But he took a very poor roster. Expectations were 0-16. Started off 0-7, I believe, and then won like 5 games total that year. So year one exceeded expectations. Year two, we got better. We got the young guys. It's like, okay, we want to see some improvement, but then we had 10 wins. The defense looked phenomenal. So then it comes year three, and we're like, well, if we won 10 games last year, we didn't really do too much in the offseason besides it's kind of, you want year two growth, and then we kind of infused more young talent across the board. We didn't really add any extreme veteran talent. We honestly got rid of more veteran talent than brought in. So, but expectations were still high. We definitely expected growth. So here comes year three, and we shit the bed. Just flat out stink. Honestly, one of the worst teams in the league. And I understand why people want Brian Flores out. I believe in the guy himself too much to want him to leave. I think he's gonna be able to right the ship. I don't think it's gonna be this season. I think I got a notification, that's why it's blanking out. But I think he's too good of a coach to let him walk. I think we give him one more offseason. But the biggest knock on Flores, and I've literally said it to other people, it is a fireable offense. He's had 3 different years with 3 different offensive staffs, and they've all sucked. And like I said, that's a fireable offense. But I want to give him one more offseason to right the ship. If he does it, awesome. Because we know the defense was better today against the Bills. It obviously has been bad this season, but we know he's going to bring defense. So he needs to surround himself with good offensive staff, which I'm going to go break down further in the video. God, I'm nasally. It's hard to breathe. Okay, but just to explain, I'm not in the majority of Dolphins fans. I made a post if the Dolphins should keep Flores or fire him. Let's see. Actually, it's fucking 50-50 down the middle. So you can see it's pretty volatile, but 50-50 is right down the middle. Like I said, I'm pro keeping Flores, and I'm gonna hop into what I think he needs to do specifically in order to bring that offensive presence that we need in order to have a successful football team. Because last year the defense was good enough to win any game, and our offense was basically a liability in like every single game besides 2. So we played complimentary football last season. We're a playoff team, and we could have made some noise. So that's what we thought we were going to get this season. And our defense regressed, and our offense is basically the same. So I'm going to go into what I think needs to get done. And number one, I think that's getting an experienced offensive mind in the NFL. I'm not saying the person that comes to mind for me is Doug Peterson. We know he's got a good RPO game. He's under the Andy Reid tree, so you know he's got offense. But I'm not saying I'm specific to Doug Peterson. I just want someone who's established, not Chan Gailey either, not like an 80-year-old who's coming out of retirement. I want someone who has good experience, like George Godsey called plays for a season. Eric Studesville's never called plays. I want someone with experience to bring that presence to the locker room. And along with that, most importantly, is getting an established offensive line coach, because our entire offensive line is young and none of them have developed. Austin Jackson's arguably one of the worst starting offensive linemen in the league. Jesse Davis right there with him. Liam Eichenberg's looked like garbage. Robert Hunt has taken his lumps. He's looked all right. He's our most solid lineman. Dieter came into the year. He actually developed. Dieter looked solid and then got hurt. And then the other centers have been meh. So, honestly, going into next year, I'm hoping at most we can maybe get two current players to start on the offensive line. Ideally, I'm thinking Robert Hunt, maybe Eichenberg, but I mean, he hasn't been promising. We want to see. That's what I mean. That's what the rest of this season's going to be. Dolphins aren't sniffing playoffs. We just want to see the young players develop. So I think the most important things for Brian Flores to successfully do this offseason, in order for us to feel more secure about him as a coach, because, like I said, I'm a big fan of him, the person. I think he's a leader. I think he can bring championship football to Miami. It's just his inability to hire offensive staff, like I said, is a fireable offense, and I think this is what he needs to do. Established play caller. My suggestion, Doug Peterson. I'm sure in the comments down below, drop someone in that vein that you would also recommend. I'm not fully on Doug Peterson. It's just the first person that comes to mind. Offensive line coaches. Very good offensive line coaches are hard to come by. I know we had Steve Marshall, I believe, and then we got rid of him. Or Steve Marshall might be the Patriots guy. I might be speaking on my ass. But I know we had an older O-line coach, and we just recently got rid of him. So, and now we have... And the thing is, like, from what I watched the interviews, and I like our O-line coach, but it's not something you can really... I don't want a rookie offensive line coach, quite frankly. I want someone who's known to develop players and make them better, because that just has not been the case. As long as I've watched the Miami Dolphins, they've never had a good offensive line, and that needs to change. And that just goes into the entire offense. So the next point with the offensive line coach is rebuilding the entire offensive line, because, quite frankly, majority of them should not be starting if we want to be good. The most important things offensively in football is to run the ball in terms of establishing an entire offense. In terms of getting your entire offense to be good, you need to be able to run the ball and you need to be able to protect the quarterback. And the Dolphins cannot do either one. So having better coaching will help, but we need better players as well. Because like I said, Austin Jackson, trash. And I hate to do that too, because he's a young guy, and obviously the Dolphins fan base gets on him, and rightfully so. But I do believe in development, but he might be a little past that, you know what I'm saying? He might just need to go different scenery in order to develop, kind of like an Eric Flowers case. Jesse Davis should not be starting next year. Eichenberg, we need to see development. Otherwise, he probably should not be starting next year. Good thing for us, is the offensive line. Free agency, as of right now, obviously, it's a little misleading because half these players are going to get re-signed. So I'll take a gander right now. But some of the top minds that come to mind, the number one guy I want to get, Trent Brown at right tackle. He has health, injuries in his past, so it's not ideal. But the big thing for me is I don't want to experiment no more in the draft because someone might be a superstar in the draft, but the NFL is a whole different game. I want someone who's established themselves in the league and can compete at the highest level. So a guy like Trent Brown at right tackle would be phenomenal to his blind side. There's two really good centers that are set to hit the market, in Jason Kelce and Ryan Jensen. If either one of them hit the market, I think we got to get them. Connor Williams is at guard. There's plenty of talent, and we got to get at least 2 or 3 veteran starters in order to be good. So that's my overview. Defensively, it's a little more tricky because how multiple they like to be on defense, that there's so many different packages and certain people are good in different packages, and it's harder to shit on people. But clearly we need another linebacker along with Jerome Baker because they're liabilities right now. Jerome Baker's taking his lumps this season, but no one's... And hear me out. I'm the biggest Elandon Roberts fan you might find. But his role needs to be his role, which it was last year and partially this year. But he's not very good at pass coverage. He's phenomenal run defender. Let him run through a gap and he'll blow it up. You know what I'm saying? But it needs to be limited to that. We need another third down back who can play the run and play the pass. That's the thing. Jerome Baker kind of struggles against the run, solid against the pass. Elandon Roberts great against the run, bad against the pass. We need slapped into one, you know what I'm saying? So we need another linebacker for sure. And then obviously we need more talent sprinkled throughout, but I think if we bring good offense, overall we'll be fine. So that is basically it. The last thing I'm going to break down is just the free agency I was talking about. So for 2022, the Dolphins, there is a positive. There are some positives. Dolphins are 3rd overall in cap space, which they're literally separated by hundreds of thousands of dollars, which in the NFL is nothing. So we're going to have arguably the most money. And then just look at the offensive line class alone. Like I said, it's a little deceptive because half these guys are going to get re-signed, but guys like Brandon Scherf, as an all-pro guy, Tron Armstead, they are older, but O-linemen can play longer than most positions at a high level, rather. Their regression isn't as noticeable as, say, cornerback, which is also a cause for concern, and I'm going to mention in another video, but guys like Scherf, Cam Robinson, whatever. Armstead's a superstar when healthy. Trent Brown, Jason Kelce, Matt Paradis, he's all right. You know what I'm saying? But there's guys here. There's also guys that could potentially be traded for. I've looked into the trade options. It's a little steep because based off contracts and how they work through trade. But if we can establish an offensive line and so that we can pass protect and run the ball, finally give Tua a fair opportunity, that's what we need to do in order to have success in an overall team. I think it's not as simple as that, but it almost is, because it's hard to assess anyone when the offensive line cannot do anything. We can't run the ball, we can't pass protect, and it just makes everyone worse. So I think we need to put all of our assets into upgrading the unit. I have one more topic, which is I forgot to mention. Keep Tua Tagovailoa. This is Sunday night, right before the trade deadline, which is Tuesday. Do not trade for Deshaun Watson. Hear me out. Obviously, when Watson is playing football, he is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. He's a superstar. He, to the nth degree, elevates the people around him. This is how I phrase it in my head. There's quarterbacks that just play to the town around him. For example, Jared Goff with the Rams. Jimmy Garoppolo with the Niners. Although they have a good run game, the talent around him, pass game wise, has gotten better recently. But those are guys that play to the talent around them. Then there's guys that I think can elevate the talent around them, which like make players play better. And I think Tua fits into that category of he can elevate the people around him. Like he makes he makes some bad players look good. He makes our bad offensive line look better in pass protection because he's able to move in the pocket properly. He's able to get the ball out fast. And then there's people which I categorize Sean Watson as he can overcome the talent around him. So he can make, despite how bad a team might be, he can make them look good. So obviously he's in a different stratosphere than Tua. But Tua also doesn't have allegations. And Tua is also a young guy who I think if you give him good talent, I think he can elevate that talent and make us a good team, especially with the defensive play calling that I know Flores and Boyer are capable of. Obviously, it's been a disappointment this year, but overall, I think that's what the Dolphins need to do. Keep Flores, keep Tua, hire an established offensive play caller, offensive line coach, and build an entire offensive line primarily. Like at least 3/5 of the offensive line next year need to be established veteran guys like Trent Brown, Jason Kelsey, Ryan Jensen, people of that nature. And then you can sprinkle on young talent such as Robert Hunt, maybe a guy in the draft, maybe Liam Eichenberg. We have to see as the season plays along. We're 1-7, so there's 10 games remaining. Those 10 games are going to be telling about who should be on the roster next year. So it's kind of a long video. I didn't intend it to be this long. But if you watch, just let me know anything you might want to see me make a video on next. And if you disagree, agree, let me know why down below. I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll hopefully make another video soon. So I'll catch you.